So here I am starting Charon Inc. All the players have thrown a card into the pile and we turn them up, see what's going to be available. And these are going to be possibilities for anyone to buy. And there was sort of a tendency to get rid of higher valued cards, not so much because you don't want higher valued cards, but because it was uncertain whether or not you can actually build those. So now, well, we look at the players in their order, and Red is first, looks at his cards and says, oh, I'm interested in a lot of different colors actually. I'm interested in purples, blacks, greens, blue, yellow, just about everything. And frankly, this is the space. Except I don't play it there. I have to make a decision out of what I'm not going to play from here. So what do I want to do? I don't have a real goal towards getting a lot of one color. So I'm going to play here. I'm going to pull it out of the synchrotron. Now that makes the synchrotron more valuable to everyone else because it's one player down. Only two more have to get out of there before it can actually produce. In a two-player game, it might be of some value to stay stuck to someone and prevent them from getting a special action if you think you can outplay them over on the board. But in 5, you really want your action, whatever it ends up being. Okay, so the next player is going to be Brown. He looks at his cards, and this is going to be a pain in the ass to play solitaire. That's all I have to say. He really wants these black pieces, and greens and purples look of interest to him too. But blacks are really interesting. So he's interested in this space, and in order to get that, he needs to think. He doesn't want to get out of synchrotron. He's got high valued cards, gain 1 common or discarded card. That could be valuable. Wild card could be valuable. Stolen gem. He's going to take it from here and place from there. And now White. White looks at his cards and he says, oh, blue and purple are my big colors. Now, the blue-purple space is right there right now. I don't have a great choice otherwise. Green is kind of interesting. So blue, purple, green. Uh-oh. White is going to go here. Yeah. It doesn't give him any blue, it gives him other colors. He's interested in trades, he's not. He's going to get rid of the underground warehouse and drop there. And we're seeing you're making these decisions kind of on your cards, maybe on what's out here, because you might be buying those. You're only allowed to buy one of these each turn though, whereas you can buy as many off your hand as you like. Plus, depending on player order, you may not have an option to buy the one that you most want out of here. But you're making a choice between what locations are available, what your cards are, what you can try to buy, and what special action you think is going to help you the most. I'll go through a few more, but I'm not going to show this whole action. Blue is next. Blue looks at his cards and he says, wow, I really like blue. And purple and yellow are kind of interesting, but blue is my goal. Well, the only good blue space is there. And I want to kind of dominate that. Greens aren't too interesting. Yellow is kind of interesting. I want this space, and I'm going to take it. Everything's interesting to me. I need a lot of blue. I need 5 blue. I need to get them all. Synchrotron is definitely a way to get towards that. I'll take it out of stolen mineral. And, you know, as you see, as the number of people in one thing decreases, being in that improves, becomes more and more valuable. So now there's only 3 people in the underground warehouse. It's tempting to stay in there because unless everybody is getting hosed by being in a blank one, you don't want to be caught without a special ability. And now we go to the greenish or teal player, and he's got some cheap stuff here. He likes green more than most things, but almost everything he wants. He's willing to come out of the synchrotron and the fight for those blues is going to be tough, though. And he doesn't care about blues at all. I was trying to think about, did he want to be in here? We'll go over here. The fight for the purples is going to be tough too, but he actually cares about purple a little bit at least. You could get purple elsewhere though. But he likes green. Okay, so I've gone around once. I'm going to do this several more times. I'll come back to show you what the rest of the turn looks like after the flag plays. Just for a quick snapshot, we see the players, other than red who went first, kind of trying to get more force on the spaces they were at. But here's a problem. You need more to build your cards than what you can get off of like a couple of places that are kind of adjacent. So, sure, this teal color is tied in the purple actually. Has a presence that's very powerful here. But that's all he's getting is yellow and green right now. Purple's not going to go anywhere if he doesn't play another piece, which he'd probably play over here to get more dominance on those. And as you make these choices, you're beginning to see more and more, oh my god, I'm not going to be able to build much at all. Another time around, and the choices on the actions are more or less becoming fixed, well, not fixed, but people look like they know what they're going to get with their actions. So for example, white has 2 pieces. They might not get anything in stolen intelligence, but they're guaranteed synchrotron. Blue, if they sit on underground warehouse, they've got it. If they sit on synchrotron, they've got it. They've got nice choices there. Same with these guys, they can sit on engineering advance, rare mineral find. Stolen intelligence is the only one that could be a failure, and only if everybody sat on it, which is pretty unlikely, I would say. Positioning, people are really dominating. White has actually gotten almost command of the purple, but if red or teal really wanted it, they can put a flag right in the center there. So that's kind of a powerful option. People who use the stolen intelligence can shift one of their flags out of a useless area into one that produces more points for them. Looks like we're on the last round here. The last time around for this round, as it were. Okay, so the placement's been made. Teal feels like they had far too much information on the last turn. This is the kind of position that I hated. They were sitting there with a stolen intelligence chit or an engineering advance, and it was just beyond my ability because I know it's possible, but I just couldn't calculate out what I wanted to do, and I hate being in that position where I have to do that. And I made a bad choice, I'm sure, which was placing in here where I'm just going to get a couple of purple and prevent red from getting them, and I just don't know what the value is there. But the stolen intelligence, I didn't want to come out of places because I'm going to get a couple of yellow here, but if I move either of them, I won't. Actually, how with that? I'm going to take the stolen intelligence instead because I can shift over there and get the yellow and the green, which is good for me. Okay, so let's distribute what goes to people. Well, first stolen intelligence. Whoop. I can do this because it's not going next to any purple area, or 3-point area. I could have gone originally, instead of going up here to here, which actually Doesn't give me any green is the problem. Let me look at him and think again. Now he really wants green. Okay. So I'm going to get some points, just not what I was hoping. All right, now we start looking at who gets what. And this goes over, over there to blue. This goes to blue. This goes to brown because the tiebreaker is the number of 2-point areas. This one goes to brown because he's in a 2-point area. Over here, this goes to white. White's got 3 of these, so he gets this. And white's doing quite well, actually, with his central placement. Blue gets these. Blue gets these. Doesn't matter that there's 2 versus 2. It's that he's got 2 versus any 1. Over here, teal gets a win. Here, it's a tie. It stays stuck. Here, red gets the win. Over here, it's browns. Here, white again. White again. White's racking them up. Blue gets another purple and is kind of cursing himself. Here, it's tied. Teal gets these. Brown gets these. Tied. Teal. And this was tied. And that's what the flagging is like. And now we go to the next thing. Well, a couple of people get rare minerals. Red and brown. Poor red is not doing very well there. And engineering fans. At this point, well, nobody's there, so nobody's going to get that bonus of picking a card. And there's things like the Supply Depot that were cheap enough that maybe they would have been attractive. All right, now we adjust the turn order, and this is by the number of gems that people have. The person with the most becomes the new first player. Who's got the most? 6, 8, 10, 9. Looks like white's got the most. We'll put him up here for now. I think brown has the next most. Blue. Then teal. And finally red. And this will be the turn order for the next turn. Just kind of scrambles things up. You get an advantage of being able to place early, but it may not be that big an advantage. Who went first this last time? Certainly not the people who got the most because they didn't stay in the same place, right? We shuffled things up quite a bit. Red went first and they did the worst out of the bunch. Of course, going last may be the big advantage. It's hard to tell because there's key spaces that if you play in as the first player can give you a lot of power to negotiate with. Just because red didn't capitalize on it effectively isn't really the fault of the turn order. It's their own fault. They spread out and tried to grab too much and failed. Okay. Now we're going to go to building cards, and here's the problem. Okay, it immediately becomes the new first player. I guess that means they are the first player for these new actions. So now I get to look at white, and they're allowed one card from the common row and as many from their hand as they like. Well, let's see what they can build. They'd rather take from the common row if they can, because their hand they get to hold on to. Of course, they're not terribly interested in getting this because that's in their hand. It's not really clear. I think it's only if you draw the new card. That's listed somewhere. We talked about it. If you are dealt a new card at the beginning of the round, which you've already built, well, that's not what's happening. If he builds one from here and holds one in his hand, he's actually kind of boned. You almost certainly want to discard that card. But taking a card from there doesn't really hurt if that's all he's doing. So he has a pile of a lot of different things, and he has the synchrotron. He could build this research station. Let's say he's doing that. That will cost him 3, 2 green, a yellow, and he could use a green as a black. Now he can only trade in for blacks now. So he can't do this. Well, he couldn't do that as well anyway. He doesn't have the cards to do anything else. This is a pretty good card though. So he's going to use his synchrotron ability to trade in this one way. He's going to kick gems all over the place because these are hard to handle. Even though they're not slickery, grabbing more than one at once is tough. He's going to grab himself a big 11-point card. Nice bonus there, right? Okay. And he's done. Now we go to Brown. Now he could have built more if he had more. What is Brown holding? Well, Brown's holding some nice cards too, but maybe he'd rather build off here. So he kind of likes what's out here, except those galactic exchanges. 2 blue. What is Brown's special ability? Brown's special abilities, he's got a wild card, but he doesn't have enough purples to build those 9s. Okay? He certainly doesn't have enough to build these. He might build the supply depot if he wants, but what about his own hand? His own hand takes purples except, whoa, there's different values on the different cards. He can build different things either in his hand or elsewhere. That's interesting. Okay, so this one takes black, yellow. He can't do this. He can't do this. But what about the one in his hand? That takes green, black, yellow, and blue. He's going to build this. Takes 2 green, 2 black, a clear as a yellow, and a blue. Can he build more? He doesn't have much. Not really. So this is what he's going to build. And this goes back here. And he gets a 9-point building. Okay, so we go over to blue, and I'll come back with what everybody's bought, because I think you see the mechanism there. Well, we've come to the end of the line here, and some of the people, everybody bought something. The earlier ones with the more pieces got some of the more powerful stuff. Blue played that, I believe, out of their hand. Teal played this out of their hand, got themselves down to 2 tokens, which is where you want to be. Poor red has to discard. And they're going to keep their clear token, because that's a bonus wildcard token. These cards go in the discard pile. And they're gone unless somebody does a discard of something they've already built. Red doesn't get anything that they built. Everybody's flags go back. And what this is reminding me of a little bit is maybe a slightly less difficult to calculate game like Bazaar, the old 3M game, which had the same kind of turn in and collect sets in this way, or patterns that you want of colors. The difference in Bazaar is the patterns that are available are all available to everyone. It's not like this where there's only a few. Here you have this hand, which is sort of the things you're aiming for, in addition to something that's available to everyone. So it seems better to go for what you can in your hand, because you're not going to have enough to buy your entire hand even at the beginning, and presumably you have more cards in your hand as you go. And you also have sort of this, yes, you have to get down to 2, but you don't have these weird trades available that allow you to convert your gems back and forth in all kinds of weird ways. Bazaar is just a purely math game using a different kind of math than we're used to. Okay, so that's that side of it, and now everybody's going to get 2 cards, and they get to put one face down again, and shape them. There may be some discards if they get things that if they draw new cards that they've already built, in which case they get something at random. And we're going to say that's just a one shot. As you draw it, you can throw it away and get a new one. I'll take care of that, let you know if there's any throwaways, but otherwise I'll just be loading this.